What is up, guys? This is Jared Spalding here, and for this one, we'll be talking about will the government ban silver investing? And obviously, they wouldn't do so for no reason, but I'm talking about mainly like in a crisis situation or something. Will the government put limitations on, investing in silver? And furthermore, will they come in and take your silver? And of course, you have to remember that this has happened in the past with gold, where privately owning gold was illegal at one point, as well as silver, and obviously that ban's gone now, or else I wouldn't be on YouTube with a bunch of making videos about silver. But anyway, yeah, I mean, will they do this again? Will they ban silver investing? And obviously it depends on the circumstance. And they wouldn't just do it today for no reason. Like, well, I mean, they could try, but the act definitely wouldn't get passed because of how much upset it would cause. But if we were having a crisis situation where the silver, we were running out of silver, and the government basically felt like they were forced to, then who's to say that they wouldn't be able to? I mean, obviously, you have, as of now, a right to invest in silver. It's part of your right to own like property, and this would be in the sense of owning something as long as you're paying for it, like a material object, which so they couldn't just come along and take it or even ban you from buying it. But since silver is as important as it is for a government to run, since it basically acts as money as well as gold, they could try to say that in a crisis situation, they could try to say that in order for the government to properly run, they're going to have to temporarily put a ban on the investing or buying of silver, just because of the fact that they need it for their banks or whatever, because the economic system's collapsing. They could use, I believe, be called the elastic clause. They'd be using Congress in order to extend their power. Normally they wouldn't be able to ban silver investing, but they might be able to do so in a situation where silver was very necessary for the government to run itself. And obviously, if they were doing this, who's to say they wouldn't come along and basically force you to sell your silver to them, which I believe would be similar to, like, if the government wants to use your land for public use, even though it's private, they can give you what's called just compensation. I don't know if this would necessarily apply to your silver, but if they can try to say that if it's in an extreme situation, they might really try to apply this, I believe would be called eminent domain, which is like the government's right to take your property for public use. And I don't know how well this would apply to material objects such as silver, but in a crisis situation, who's to say they wouldn't try to apply this and say basically you have to sell us your silver, we'll give you money for it, but we'll give you what we consider a fair price. And what the government considers a fair price and what you consider a fair price are two very different things, obviously. Especially considering the fact that if they're buying silver, they're only going to be willing to pay melt value for it. You'll be forced to sell it for melt when you might have numismatic pieces that are worth 10 or 20 times melt value. Like, obviously all this right here isn't worth much above melt, since this is pressed bullion. Although you usually do have to pay a little bit of above melt for bullion, unless you buy from someone who stole it or something like that. But generally, you're gonna have to pay a little bit of melt for bullion. But so you'd be losing a little bit of money right there. But I'm talking about mainly on your coins that, like, a good example of a coin I have would be the 1832 bust half dollar I have, which is worth well over $100. But melt value wise, looking at maybe $6-7 it'd be worth melt value. So that's how much I would be getting for it if I was forced to sell it, as opposed to the over $100 that I could sell it for if I really wanted to someone who buys older coins, someone who had an interest in it. But in that situation, no one's going to be collecting coins. Everyone is going to be either trying to invest in silver, like through this type of thing, through junk silver or whatever they're trying to invest in to try to get it below melt, because you basically are going to need silver if the economy's collapsing. And I guess a lot of people would go into hiding with their, or at least not go into hiding, but put their silver into hiding, is what I meant to say, and try to claim that they didn't have any. But if people know and decide to rat you out or something, you'd be in trouble. But anyway, do I think the government will ban silver investing? I honestly think it depends on how the economy is looking, but I believe if the economy starts really going down and they were, able to claim that they needed silver in their banks in order for them to stay afloat, they might at least be able to ban the buying and selling of silver, and possibly even come and buy your silver. That I think would be a bit of a stretch, but I do think that they can put a ban on silver investing because the private owning of silver and gold was banned at one point, so I don't see what would stop them from doing it again if they needed to. And because you're supposed to have, if you have any kind of money, you're supposed to have real physical silver or gold backing it up somewhere in a bank. And if they were to try to, keep the economy afloat by having real silver, representing their money, and they didn't have any in their banking system, that's where the economy would crash. So they probably could ban buying of silver and force any silver that's being produced to go into banks, but I do think it would be a big extreme for them to come and take whatever silver you already own, but I honestly don't know. I don't know how long a ban would last either, and chances are if the government's pulling to those extremes, the economy's going to collapse anyway, so you might as well just wait for it to happen. But yeah, I don't think that necessarily that they are going to ban it. I think you're going to have to really see an extreme situation, but I hope you guys enjoyed the quick video. That's it for this one. Peace, love, much respect.